In today's lesson, we're going to talk about evaluating expressions. So what is the difference between evaluate and simplify? Well, evaluate simply means that you want to get a numerical answer. So if I say evaluate 3 plus 2, you would tell me that it equals 5. And that 5 is what we call a numerical answer because it's just a number. Well, to simplify means do all the mathematical operations you can do until you can't do any more, until there's nothing else to do. For instance, if your simplified answer is negative 6x, that is an expression and it is simplified because there's nothing more you can do until you know what x is, and it has a variable. So this is an expression and it is simplified. Numerical only has a number, simplified it could be just a number, but it can include a variable as well. So we're going to write an expression that represents the following example. So in this example, we have a charity that wants to have a fundraiser, and they're going to sell stuffed teddy bears for $5 each. Now they would like to have an expression that will keep track of the amount of money they have raised. So we're going to look at this in a table. So we have, in order to decide what the dollars received is, we're going to keep track of the numbers sold. We're going to perform a mathematical operation that will give us the total amount of money. So if we sell one bear, we know that that's going to be $5. So 1 times 5 is going to give us a total amount of 5. Well, if we sell 2 bears, we're going to have 5 plus 5, which is the same as 2 times 5, because remember, multiplication is the same as repeated addition. And 2 times 5 we know is 10. Same thing with 3. 3 times 5 is going to give us 15. 4, we're going to do same operation, 4 times 5, and that's going to give us 20. Well, we don't want to have to keep doing this for every single time, keep saying, 5 plus 5 plus 5 and so on. So we're going to jump ahead a little bit and we're going to say, okay, we're going to let n represent the number of bears that we have sold. The operation is still going to be exactly the same because we're still going to be doing repeated addition. So if each bear costs $5, we're going to have n times 5. And when we write that as the total, we are going to write it as 5n. It is always proper form to write the number first. So the amount of money that they've raised is equal to 5n, or $5 times the number of bears sold. All right, so why do we want to create an expression? Well, what if we had 2,361 things, each worth $3? Well, to figure out the value of the group of things, we have to add $3 plus $3 plus $3 plus $3 plus $3, 2,361 times. And that is a lot of work. It would be very cumbersome to do, so we want to do that. Now, creating an expression allows us to use the fact that repeated addition is multiplication. And as we saw with the bears, that's what we did. So let's create a few more. All right, so here we have, we're going to write an expression that will calculate what someone's pay based on $10 an hour, what they will receive. So we're going to let h equal the number of hours they have worked. Again, we're going to look at this in a table, hours worked, operation, and the total. So if they only work for 1 hour, they get paid $10 per hour, so 1 times 10 is 10. Then if they work 2 hours, well, same operation, 2 times 10 is 20. 3 hours, 3 times 10, which is 30. Or 4 hours, again, think of it this way, 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 is the same as 4 times 10, which gives us 40. Again, let's jump ahead and let's say that h is the number of hours worked, so we're going to do the same operation, h times 10, which gives us 10h. So the amount of money that the person receives is going to be $10h. Now, Sally has D dolls. Now, D is just some number. So she's got a bunch of dolls, and her mother has gone to the store and bought her 3 more. Now, write an expression for how many dolls that Sally has now. All right, so let's start with the number that she has. D dolls and 3 more. Now, more, if you remember from our lesson on when we did writing expressions, more means to add. So we're going to add Well, how many did her mom buy her? She bought her 3 more. So this expression tells us that Sally has D plus 3 dolls. Well, Wilson has some candies in a bag. He has a whole bunch, 275 to be precise. And every hour he eats 4 candies because he's holding back. He doesn't want to eat too many, he's only going to eat 4. Well, write an expression that shows how many candies he has left after 7 hours. Now, before we can use that 7 hours, we need an expression that just represents how many candies he has for each hour. All right, so the most important thing is he starts with 275. So if Wilson starts with 275, so are we. So we write down our 275, and then we look at every hour he eats 4. So eats is going to tell us it's subtraction, right? Because he no longer has those candies. He's taken them away, he's eaten them, they're gone. So we have a subtraction, and it's 4 for every hour. So in 1 hour, if he eats 4 candies, he's going to be subtracting 4. Well, if he eats 2 hours go by, he eats 4 candies each hour, it's going to be 4 times 2, which is going to be 8. Same thing with 3 hours go by, he's eaten 4 candies for every hour, so 4 times 3 is going to give us 12. Well, let's generalize this. Let's say that the number of hours that go by is going to be h. All right, so if we replace for every hour, he eats 4 candies, so we're subtracting 4h candies. Just like the teddy bears, only now we're subtracting instead of adding. Okay, we were asked how many candies Wilson would have after 7 hours. Well, h is the number of hours. That's what we defined it as. Our expression was 275 minus 4h. So we have replace our hours with a 7, and we go ahead and we multiply, so we get 275, subtract the 28 candies that were eaten in those 7 hours, and we find that we have 247 candies left. So after 7 hours, Wilson has 247 candies. Penny has n nickels. Jimmy has 4 times as many nickels as Penny does. So write an expression that shows how many nickels Jimmy has. All right, well, it seems like we should probably start with the n. Now, the n is the number of nickels. In fact, we're told that in the question, that the n is the number of nickels that Penny has. So let's start with the n, and we can see that Jimmy has 4 times as many. Now, again, remember from our writing expressions, 4 times simply means 4 times. So 4 times n represents the number of nickels that Jimmy has. All right, Alex has C cars, and Joseph has 3 times as many cars, less 5. So write an expression for how many cars Joseph now has. All right, so let's start with our C. That's how many cars Alex has. And it says that Joseph has 3 times as many cars. So that's going to be 3 times the C. Less 5. Again, remember from our writing expressions, less 5 means to subtract 5. So Joseph has 3C minus 5 cars. And that is your lesson on evaluating expressions.